Life and Works of Rizal, Chapter 1, Topic Number 1, The Trials of the Rizal Bill. The original version of the bill mandates all public and private colleges and universities to include Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo as a compulsory reading material, and it entails that any school that does not comply with the provisions shall be dismissed immediately from service. April 3, 1956, the Committee on Education filed the Senate Bill number 433. April 17, 1956, tensions started when Senator P. Laurel sponsored the bill. April 23, 1956, debates regarding the bill started. Proponent, Claro M. Recto. Opposition, Mariano Cuenco, Francisco Rodrigo, and Decoroso Rosales. The arguments presented are: Proponent, Rizal did not pretend to teach religion and theology. As we've known, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo contains contents about the church and the friars, but the events and scenarios on his novels are all product of his observation that describes the real situation of our country during that time. His intention was to instill civic consciousness, national dignity, personal pride, and patriotism to the Filipino people. Second is, he ridiculed and criticized the unworthy behavior of the ministers, but praises and favors the worthy ones. His novel was not biased. The arguments presented by the opposition are: the Rizal Bill is an attempt to discredit the Catholic religion. Because the novel contains critics about the church, they fear that it may taint the name of their religion. They claim that it also violates religious freedom. As mentioned earlier, the bill mandates all schools to teach life and works of Rizal, and teaching the youth what they call Rizal's anti-church novel would be like preaching them to also be an anti-church. Second, it is synonymous to compelling a religion to salute the flag, which is against their faith. The first commandment says, "Thou shalt not have no other God before me." They believe that choosing country before faith is against the teaching of the church. Third, the majority of the Filipino citizens are Catholic, therefore must not create conflicts between religion and nationalism. It would lead to confusion and misunderstanding that could start a dispute. Catholic priests warned the politicians who will support the bill that they are not going to support them in their political career. Catholic schools also threatened to close if the bill was passed. On April 19, 1956, Congressman Jacobo Z. Gonzales introduced an identical copy of the Bill 438, the House Bill 5561. Debate started on May 9, 1956. The discussions were livelier and more impassioned that there was even an abortive fistfight on the floor between Congressman Emilio Cortez and Congressman Ramon Dorano. Now, for the final resolution. On May 9, 1956, Senator Laurel proposed an amendment by substitution, an act to include life, works, and writings of Rizal in the curricula in all public and private schools, colleges, and universities. The substitute bill include not just Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, but all the works and writings of Jose Rizal. Senator Laurel eliminated the word compulsory. Senator Lim proposed the exemption of students from the requirements of the bill for reasons of religious belief. May 12, 1956, the substitute bill was approved on the second reading in the Senate. On May 14, 1956, Congressman Tolentino sponsored an amendment by substitution identical to Senator Laurel's bill was also approved on the second reading at the lower house. On May 17, 1956, the Senate Bill 438 and House Bill number 556 was approved on the third reading. And finally, on June 12, 1956, the bill was signed into law by President Ramon Magsaysay and became Republic Act number 1425.
Some of us may ask, why do we have to study or recall the life and works of a dead person? Well, first of all, Rizal is not just a dead person who had a natural death. He was a brave warrior whose fighting is not by blood, but by words. Powerful words that awakened or enlightened the minds of our ancestors, which add fuel to the revolution. If it weren't for him and his works, we may still be blinded by the ways of the Spaniards. It is through recalling his life and his works that we may learn how to appreciate the sacrifices that were made and repent on the wrongs of the past. It is through knowing our history that we feel grateful to those heroes who died for the liberation of our country. It is through understanding these will the youths be more patriotic. Especially nowadays, where our country, the government, the police force itself, and the justice system is in turmoil, where our own perpetrators belongs to our own race. We need educated people who knows the past and learns from it. People who understand what the abuse of power may bring, and put a stop to those who dare to conspire our country. We need youth, patriotic youth who yearns to protect his country. And we can achieve those through the help of the subject, life and works of Rizal. We need that ignition that our ancestors had to fight or to start fighting for our country.